It is evident from several things that Steve is immune to zombies, since obviously he doesn't turn into one. Skeletons are simply zombies that over the years decomposed so much that only their bones remained. So we can deduce, accepting this theory, that what destroyed humanity were the zombies, as they are the main mob when considering both skeletons and zombies. Here begins the theory. Humans started as a normal civilization, as we know it, beginning by building the pyramids and various structures in the game. After dominating the entire world, including the sea with marine temples and such, they discovered the portal to the Nether. They wanted to extract minerals from the Nether, like ancient debris, gold quartz, etc. Then there were the piglins, who ruled the Nether with an advanced civilization and fortresses. They didn't like that humanity was stealing their minerals, so a war broke out. Humans established their bases in the Nether fortresses, while the piglins held their bastions. Humans performed quite well in the war, while in the overworld they began experimenting with potions and enchantments. Here they developed TNT, which at the time was more advanced and even nuclear. Humans bombed all the piglin bastions, leaving them no choice but to surrender. This explains several things about the Nether. Before, there was normal sand in the Nether, or at least a different type, but with every battle, there were so many dead warriors that their souls embedded themselves into the battle sand, which is why it's called soul sand. Humans disabled the piglins, stripping them of everything and leaving only a few survivors from the war. This is when the piglins began to regress as a civilization. All of this obviously happening hundreds of thousands of years ago. Humans in the overworld started researching the piglins and noticed that when brought to the overworld, piglins turned into zombies, likely due to the sun or some toxin in the air, different from the Nethers. They began bringing more and more piglins to the overworld to study them. Years later, they developed mutated versions of the piglins, which would become the famous creepers. This is based on the idea that the developers used a pig's texture and model to create them. Through their research, they also discovered why piglins turned into zombies. Humanity began testing this substance or method of zombification on humans themselves. Thus, the piglins left in the overworld turned into creepers. The overworld fell into a zombie apocalypse. At the bottom of the sea, creatures emerged from the depths and began annihilating the humans there. In the Nether, they realized that the zombies there mutated faster, causing all their flesh to fall off, leaving only a black skeleton called a wither. Former fortress soldiers who gradually died or turned into zombies, which is why all withers carry a sword. This explains why piglins hold a grudge against withers. After many years, the survivors began creating small villages and vowed not to interfere with anything or anyone. They dedicated themselves to watching over the world and becoming farmers, etc., inventing the iron golem to protect them from all the zombies and creepers in the area. At this point, society practically ceased to exist. Only a few survivors remained in structures beneath the sea or land, which would be the strongholds. Here, once again, humans began traveling to the end through the portal they had already been researching. Note that this part could come before, after, or in the middle of the Nether theory. This is why there are so many libraries. Humans had no choice but to read all day underground. Eventually, food ran out, and some humans, a few million, entered the end from the stronghold, knowing there was food coming from purple tubes in the end, along with a rarity that teleported them. Those who stayed in the overworld died, while those who went to the end survived. The bases established on the End Islands had a communication system between them via ships powered by shulkers, which they used to move the entire ship and travel safely from city to city. At some point, they ate too much end fruit, causing them to mutate into strange purple forms. Frightened, they decided to see if they could return to the overworld. They encountered the Ender Dragon, which trapped them, preventing them from leaving the End. This raises the question, when you achieve the Free the End achievement at the end of the game, you're not directly freeing anyone. You're granting the freedom that past humans never had by killing the dragon. The remaining humans crafted the best tools and tried to defeat the dragon without success, abandoning everything on the ships, hence the great loot found there. They had no choice but to stay in the end. Eventually, the remaining humans had no option but to eat end fruit and gradually mutate into what would become Endermen. Endermen have the ability to teleport because they ate too much end fruit. Many managed to teleport out of the end and are now found in the overworld. My theory is that they don't like being looked at because they dislike what they've become, so they attack if you see them. The Wither is simply the combination of enough warriors' bodies, 3 whiter heads, and 4 soul blocks from warriors. This combination was brought to light when they saw villagers using a similar combination to create iron golems, but it wasn't done until Steve appeared in the world. The Wither is a boss because you must defeat those warriors to, so to speak, free the Earth from the decay humanity caused. Piglins attack you out of resentment, but when they see you have gold, they accept it. If you don't have gold, they attack again. This is because they really want netherite, and for that they need gold, which they cannot obtain because they are not advanced enough to reach a pickaxe. As we know, Minecraft is a game with many things. Big zombies, small ones, big-nosed ones, and wet ones. It has floating blocks, parallel dimensions, and even the impressive ability to remain relevant a decade after its release. But one thing it seemingly lacks is a real story. There's no motivation for our character, no written records or dialogue, and the closest thing we have is a philosophical text after killing the Ender Dragon that basically tells us to stop playing and go live life. Sure, there's Minecraft, story mode, an episodic narrative video game with 2 seasons. But first, no way am I sitting through 20 hours of blocky drama, and second, its official 2014 announcement confirmed it's not a canonical story for the original game. It's just a story set in that world and nothing more, like fan fiction with Mojang's logo slapped on it. So the history of the Minecraft universe, if it exists, is never told to us. It's not even like Dark Souls, where the story is hidden in item descriptions or odd conversations. It's simply never told. But there are hints that there must be a story. Steve or Alex, depending on your skin, is the only one of their kind. No other mob looks like them or even has their abilities. Plus, there are tons of ruins in the Minecraft world, and a suspiciously high number of monsters, many of which bear a striking physical resemblance to Steve. This has led many of us to question its history, and today we'll talk about it. What happened to all the humans? The first thing we need to do is determine whether humans existed or not. I mean, Steve could easily be a god in this world or something, a unique being not from any specific species. While that idea makes sense, there's far more evidence that there were other humans long before, similar to Steve but distinct from villagers. For starters, skeletons and zombies look exactly like Steve, just, well, monstrous now. We don't have confirmation they were humans before, but their physical appearance is proof enough that skeletons are reanimated human skeletons and zombies are dead humans brought back to life. Another piece of evidence is that an infected villager looks different from a regular zombie, and we can actually cure and revert them back to a villager, something we can't do with regular zombies. We have smaller clues too, like how villagers don't build structures with the scale or style of the ruins found across the Minecraft world. But the biggest proof, in my opinion, is that for 1 week, when villagers were first added in the pre-release of Minecraft Java version 1.00, they weren't called villagers. Their name appeared in big tags, like a player's name in multiplayer, and it said testificata. In Latin, this word comes from testificatus and means witnesses. More specifically, someone who testifies to something. This tells us something unexpected. The villagers, Steve and Alex, witnessed something at some point. Add to that the fact that the first mob added to Minecraft was humans, who looked just like Steve, and we've got a starting point. I'll be honest with you, this theory deserves a second part, and maybe even a third, so I'm going to keep investigating. Subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.